commencement speeches are memorable for many reasons. In particular, commencement speeches are meant to help provide advice for the graduating class that is about to go off into the real world and start on new endeavors. When celebrities are asked to speak at commencement speeches, such as Neil Gaiman, they are not asked to speak only because of their career achievements, but also because of their influence, in hopes that they share their knowledge on life, work, and how to get through hardships with the graduating class.
Neil Gaiman is an English author who is known for his short fiction novels, his graphic novels, his comic books, theater, audio, and his films. He is mostly known for his work in Coraline and The Graveyard Book, and he actually never attended a four-year university or any college, yet he has still managed to be a successful author with a great career and has won many awards.
As a successful author, Neil Gaiman has already established ethos with his audience. Through his well-known books, movies, and comics, Mr. Gaiman has established his credibility through his published work. In his introduction, Neil Gaiman shares that he never had any upper-level education. Through this, he also shares his background on himself and shares information that makes him more relatable and a real person. He also shares that he never had any real career path, but rather a checklist that he had throughout his life. This is using ethos because he's establishing his credibility with the audience and relating to them. Neil Gaiman also uses pathos in his speech to connect with the audience on a more emotional level. He discusses that through his career path and the career paths of the students, there will be many hardships and ups and downs. However, they will be able to succeed and pursue anything if they put their mind to it. He discusses that there is no cut, clear path that the students will be on, which is perfectly normal, and encourages them not only to focus on what's possible, but definitely not to focus on what is impossible. He encourages them to break the social norms for their career paths and really encourages the students to succeed in life and not to be afraid to push the boundaries. Lastly, Mr. Gaiman also uses logos in his speech to show the audience that what he is saying is logical and rational. He does this by providing real-life examples on his personal experience and his personal goals. This way, the audience is able to connect his real-life experience with what they are going to experience in the future. Mr. Gaiman really focuses and emphasizes on pushing the boundaries and making sure that what these students do is something that they love to do. And if they don't love what they're doing, that they should change it. This is inspiring to all students, whether that's at the University of the Arts or here at Pepperdine, because it encourages us all to pursue our dreams and to succeed in those as well. Mr. Gaiman's advice is something that is relevant not only to this graduating class for them as they take on their next life, but also to them in their life as a whole.
So Neil Gaiman is a novelist, and he's also recorded numerous audiobooks, which really helps him in his mastery of tone, pacing, and in vocal variants. So first, what you notice about the speech is the tone that he uses. It's very supported, which makes him sound very calm and knowledgeable. This is especially important for his audience because they are all nervous graduating students who just want a voice of reassurance, and he is able to provide that for them. He also has a lot of vocal variants within his speech, which makes it not only entertaining to listen to, but also helps keep the movement of the speech going along. He also uses vocal variants in a paralleled way almost. When he has a parallel phrase, he will say that phrase with the same kind of dictation and the same kind of vocal variants that he would through every single phrase to help emphasize their parallel structure. You will also notice that he usually ends on a down beat and a down pitch. This helps make the sentence that he just said sound more concrete and more trustworthy. The only time that he really diverts from this tactic is when he ends up, when he talks about not having a plan and only having a list. This is done strategically though, because this helps take that idea and that concept and separates it from the rest of the speech. This is a very important point for him, for the students, and he wants to make it stand out. So what better way than to change the way that he's ending his sentence? It helps really stick it into the mind of his audience. Neil also adds very thoughtful pauses at the end of every thought and concept, rather at the end of every sentence. This helps his audience know what thought goes where. He has very nice pacing throughout the speech as well. It's very varied. Sometimes he'll go really fast. This usually happens when he goes up in pitch, and then he'll slow down when he gets lower. This also helps the movement of the speech go forward, as well as helps keep his audience entertained. And it also helps clump together ideas. Usually ideas that are meant to go together, he will say faster at a higher pitch, and things that are supposed to be more of a statement, he'll say lower and slower. He also does a pacing tactic when he starts naming off points that he wants his audience to remember. This helps them categorize this section of the speech as something different, as something new. He really slows it down so that his audience can really pay attention to what he's saying, and also helps them remember more, as well as it helps them reflect on what he just said.
So instead of going to college, Neil Gaiman went right into the workforce because he knew what he wanted to do in life, and he knew that he loved it and he wouldn't want to do anything else, and he was confident in his skills. So in his speech to these graduates, he used a lot of figurative language. Specifically, he used a metaphor. He compared his goal in life, which was to be a successful author, to a distant mountain. And he would make decisions in his life to get a step closer to the mountain, which is his goal, rather than a step away, obviously. And this really helped him when he was unsure of a decision. For example, he talked about how he got offered this amazing job as an editor of a big magazine, and it would be great for his credibility, it paid a lot of money, and it was essentially a once-in-a-lifetime job opportunity. And so he had such a big temptation to take the job, but he was unsure. So he took a step back and remembered his distant mountain and really thought about if that would bring him towards the mountain or bring him away. And he realized that that job opportunity, although it's so amazing, that would actually bring him a step back and not a step forward towards his goal, which was to be a successful author. And that's how he made his quote-unquote career. And I think that is such an amazing metaphor to give to these arts graduates, because there are no rules in the art world, and you just have to focus on your goal and focus on what you're passionate about and what you want to do for the rest of your life. And he also is very repetitive with the mountain, and because he really wanted to emphasize his goals and that his goals were extremely important. And this just goes to show, with or without school, as long as you have your goal and you will do anything to reach it, then you can become successful. And it clearly shows here, because if he would have taken that job as an editor in the magazine, then he would be settling, and maybe he wouldn't be where he is today, which is he's probably making a lot more money than he would be, and he's a lot happier because he reached his mountain.
To conclude, Neil Gaiman's commencement speech is one that focuses on pursuing your goals regardless of what they may be. He does this through his use of Aristotle's proofs, his structure and vocal variation, as well as his creative language. Thank you.